Hello everyone. So in this video, let us talk about hiring short-term Jira consultants and administrators. Now, I often come across Jira instances where it is obviously a mess, and one of the main reason for that mess is actually due to the fact that there is no dedicated Jira team or resource or admin, or basically there is no responsible person or a department for owning the tool. Now, this is of course a problem, and I thought I'll probably talk about it. Now, there are of course some clear disadvantages of hiring someone for a short duration, and this is also applicable for me. If someone is actually hiring me for a short while, then there are few things that I will not do for sure all the time. Now, just to give you some examples, and hopefully it will help you. Let us say there is a Jira instance where you have like a Jira admin who you just hired for like maybe 3 months, and this happens a lot where companies hire admins for a few months and then they either change it or they move on to a different admin. So basically, having someone for few months in your Jira or for your Jira administration is of course not a good idea. And one example is that, let us say you have a situation where your user is asking your Jira admin to add a field. And in your Jira instance, you may already have like 2000 fields, maybe 3000. Yes, it happens. It happens quite a lot. Then if you have a Jira admin who you just hired, or if that Jira admin know that they will only stay here in this company for a few months or maybe 2 months or 2 weeks, then there is no real motivation for them to not add that that particular field, because for them resolving a ticket is more important than challenging back to the user that why are you trying to add this field. There are a lot of other fields that you can probably reuse. This is of course just one example, and there should be some like motivation for them, right? Another example could be that in case you have some scripts that you want to of course maintain, and you have a requirement in your organization that Jira needs to be automated or integrated with other tools, then of course you will have to write scripts. Now, if you hire someone for only a short while, of course they can write a script, and that is how things are in Jira. If you're using a script runner for Jira, you can of course write scripts. Now, a problem with Jira, or I should say script runner for Jira, is although it's a great tool, we can't really do anything without it. There is also a problem that sometimes people use a script runner to do some patchwork or do like small improvements here and there without thinking about the future. For example, if you ask your Jira admin to write a script, they might write a script without capturing all the requirements properly, or without thinking about all those use cases where things can go wrong. And when you are trying to automate Jira or basically customize Jira, your Jira admins should ideally, in a way, know clearly about those implementations, automations. Ideally, they should own it, but that can, of course, not always happen. But the thing is that if you are writing scripts, and don't really write scripts to solve the problem that you have in front of you right now, just to resolve a ticket. You should also think about the implications of those scripts, or basically those use cases that you may not cover in your logic. Now, when it comes to these short-term resources that you may hire, they are usually responsive, as I just mentioned. They're focused on resolving tickets. They may not think proactively. They may not have a clear strategy and vision for your Jira's, or basically your implementation, or like what your teams are trying to do with Jira. And it is of course not their fault. It can be their fault, but because you own the tool. I'm talking about people who just hired a Jira admin and they think that, okay, we need someone external because we don't really have any resources. So let us hire someone for a short while for doing this small improvement here and there. Now, Jira, when it comes to Jira should be a crucial tool because teams use it to collaborate, teams use it to plan their work, they use it to deliver the work, and there should be a clear strategy and vision around how Jira should be uh, should be used, right? And of course, when you're doing some patchwork in Jira, when you're creating mess in Jira, it will of course have a lot of issues, long term. If you think about things, all those things that can go wrong with these quick, announcements that are something that you think or your Jira admin will think that, okay, let me just do it for the sake of it, but but there should be some clear strategy, as I just mentioned. Now, it is sometimes okay to hire a staff or a resource where you may need some additional skills if you don't really have anyone in your team to do it. But again, in that, even in those cases, you should dictate the requirements, like what exactly you are asking them to do, and ideally, of course, you should ideally have like someone, like a resource or a couple of resources, ideally a team for maintaining your Jira instance. But at least in the beginning, if you are new, I understand for a small company, you may not want to hire a lot of people in the beginning to, just maintain your Jira instance, but at least have someone dedicated, create a role. That role may not be fulfilled by just, there could be someone doing it part-time or maybe for the time being, but there should be like a clear defined role because if you don't really have a clear role, if you don't really have clear ownership of your Jira instance, then everyone can of course do whatever they want to do. Of course, that is I'm talking about having too many Jira admins, but at the same time, in this video, I actually wanted to talk about not having someone full-time or not having someone for a long-term engagement. Ideally, if you are, even if you're hiring someone like external, like maybe you work with contractors, and that is how we work, to be honest, maybe think about or start working on like ways of working or some kind of Jira change control board or some kind of policy that you can create, standards that you can create, because your resources can come and go, but your process around Jira implementation, changes, enhancements will of course stay with you. And you should have basically a very well-defined process when it comes to Jira. Of course, it may not be super simple. If you are already using Jira for a long time, of course, in that case, you need to start doing it. It may not happen immediately, but it will take time and it is okay. But if you are if you are trying to use Jira for the very first time, or if you have just moved to Jira, then you should definitely think about it from day one. And yeah, that is it. That is all I want to talk about in this video. I hope you enjoyed watching this video and you learned something new today. Thank you very much.